it needed a completely different approach because they work here, they have set hours, there's training. It was a messy approach. I took just the freelancer approach to a full-time person. Like, well, I'm not going to micromanage you. Just here's a bunch of account notes. Here's KPIs. Let me know if you have any questions.
You're watching a highlight from Agency Forge with me, Ed Leek, exclusive community for PPC agency owners to stop about in those other groups and join agencyforge.com. Application only. Terms and conditions apply, etc. Who was the first person you actually hired in your agency?
I was just a freelancer to work on some of the accounts because as we grew, it wasn't quite enough for full-time. That was a big leap, but kind of, hey, we're getting more clients. Here's one, here's two, here's five, and then
okay.
We could leave it flexible like that, which I thought worked for us. Maybe if you're just bombarded with leads, you can go to full-time and unload your work very quickly. It kind of depends on the setup, but yeah, we did just freelancers for a while, and we were, her and I, and then a freelancer, maybe 2 years. Like I not interested in growing and growing and growing, and then switched to full-time. I don't know the time frame, maybe a year or so after that. And then we have a combination of the two. It's just as needed. I could go all full-time if it justified it, but I like the flexibility or finding a specialist. Again, if we get a quote for, hey, we have 100,000 a month, fashion brand, e-commerce on multiple platforms, I can go find that person and say, well, hey, are you interested in this? I'll bid on it, and I can do it if we don't already have that.
So you're being very flexible. So your first hire was a freelance, and the trigger was more work coming in.
Yeah.
Which is normally think it's like, oh shit, I need to hire someone because my hours are drying up.
Yeah.
Do you regret hiring in hindsight? Would you have hired someone differently? Would you have gone full time knowing what you do now, or was the freelance the right thing at the time?
Because we also did it for SEO and web design. We would just take a chunk of it, and current clients like, hey, can you rebuild the website? Well, no, but I could partner with this person. It's very transparent. We take $500 or $1,000 or something and work together, and it helped. Hey, web design person, make sure this is the form, this is the headline, it's this color, and it helped our PPC that we could do that. So it's kind of the same concept, but with PPC. I'd say the biggest mistake is when we did go full time, we took the same approach with our freelancers. Like, here's your accounts, here's your KPIs, go. Whereas a full-time employee, that didn't work. And it needed a completely different approach because they work here, they have set hours, there's training. It was a messy approach. I took just the freelancer approach to a full-time person. Like, well, I'm not going to micromanage you. Just here's a bunch of account notes, here's KPIs. Let me know if you have any questions. Which for a freelancer was great. For a full-time person was awful. And it took some time to learn how to do that.
Yes, because they're not used to. They're not a freelancer, i.e., they don't work for themselves. They're not used to it, are they?
As a freelancer, you're hiring their business. So it's like I have my charts. Here's my shared Google Doc with my work log and this and that, and then here's an ad. I'll put it in here. It says pending, and then you go in there and click approved. I'll put it in. They have a system generally, whereas a full-time person, it's like, I'm here. What's your system? What do I do? It's like, well, you run ads. It's like, right. What do you like? I'm like, I don't know. Just run ads, and it doesn't work. You have to adjust.
Yeah, they're more senior. I mean, if someone's very experienced, you'd hope they bring some firepower with them.
Usually not. And that was, again, Forge has a ton of this, and I really like the E-Myth book. It's be process dependent, and you put together a really, really good process, or plug another one of your things, God tier ads. It's kind of, you can give someone, memorize this, do this. And you could drop nearly anybody in that. If they're okay and they go through God tier ads or some process that's incredible, it's like, if you follow this and you're okay, then the accounts will do well. Rather than no process, you have to hire a genius, and they have to be the best of the best. And when they leave, you're not good anymore. You document the franchise model. You can drop almost anyone into it, and the process is so good, it just works.
Yeah, process can save you some pain if you document the basics at least, or your standards, because when people leave, and they do leave, especially someone senior, if they leave, they take a lot of mental resources with them, don't they?
Yeah.
That's why I love the speed reports, again, something inside Forge for new employees, because it's so simple. There's no excuse. It takes you out of the work, but keeps you on the very top level of it, bird's eye view. There are little things, because a lot of people look at SOPs and processes and go, oh, it's a lot of work, but you can start simple. I think we've spoken about this in Forge, actually, on the forum. I think my example was the budget, wasn't it? It's like, what's our process for a budget? It could be literally a single-page document with bullets saying, is it over? Is it on target? Is it under? And in each situation, what do we do? Like, really straightforward. It's none of this. I think some people think it's like a full process of, my budget's overspending 12%, and therefore I have to go through this flow chart of actions. It's like,
it's this Excel thing that looks like an accounting doc. It's like, that's a little much. Just what are you spending per day, higher or lower? Because Google Charts, it looks like this. There are very few accounts that are straight across, and they're $100 a day on the dot. They're 87, 104, and Saturdays are slower, and you have to calculate. Every month has a different number of days, so it's kind of. But
you're experienced, so you know that. So I mean, if you take someone on junior, they might be like, "Oh, it hasn't spent today. On yesterday, it spent too much," and so like just having that basic, this is what we expect, sort of thing. But yeah, you can just cheat and buy my training or your training.
Buy someone's training. Eventually, maybe we won't have training, but just buy training for your people. Buy a process, or you can do the process. Just make sure they have something, or a senior level person that watches the junior level person. Just have something in place. That's what I found. Just do a good job, hit your targets. For most employees, doesn't work. But I don't want to micromanage, so you need something. Here's your checklist, and then I check the checklist, and there's something in place.
Stop trying to scale your agency on your own. It's a lonely pursuit, it's boring, it's tiring, it gets you on blood meds. Join agencyforge.com, a community, a mastermind, training from like-minded PPC agency owners and myself, Ed Leek. I was going to follow that up with a .com, but I'm not a .com, I'm a real person. Go check it out.